Welcome back to another unboxing video. It's been quite a while since I've last posted one. I apologize for that. But I just got back from the Thunderworks Games warehouse where I picked up my latest Kickstarter from them, Citizens of the Spark by Philip Dubarry. And before I open the game and talk about the game and all, I can't speak higher about Thunderworks. They're a local company for me, a smaller company. But when they run a Kickstarter, they do it right. And they're one of a very few number of companies that come to mind that are either on time or even ahead of schedule with their timeline for their supporters. And I can't speak higher about them because of that. Just a great group of people there at Thunderworks Games in Middleton, Wisconsin. So make sure you check them out if you haven't before. So now let's take a look at Citizens of the Spark. This is one of the games, I got to admit, is not really in my wheelhouse. But Thunderworks has earned my trust. Every game they have put out, whether it's something that I know that I want or something that I'm not 100% certain on, because it isn't in my wheelhouse, every game they've put out I have enjoyed. And so this is one that I did back because of the company. And I know I'm going to enjoy the game, and I'm happy to have it. I can't wait to get it on the table. This game, you are basically building out a city tableau almost, where as you put out citizens, then you can use their abilities, and the rest of the players, if they have the same citizens, they can follow actions. So it's one of those play and follow games. And it's just got a wide variability because there are so many cards in here that you can mix and match, and you're not using them all every game. So let's get into it here. As you would expect, they of course have their catalog here, which I always enjoy looking through because they sneak some things in that you may or may not have heard of, or that are been rumored for a while, and suddenly they make it into the catalog. And so I always like to take a peek at that. I actually keep a bunch of these. I keep them with the games because it's kind of fun to go back and look at and see if names have changed and things like that. I know Tenpenny Parks, that name did change. Here's the rule book. It's not real long. In typical Thunderworks style, I've come to be accustomed to this style of font for their background, and they do a nice job of making sure to highlight things in blue. First game suggestions, and they always have a really good, well-planned, well-laid-out rule book with plenty of examples, good coloration in there, and typically any game I played with them, if I have a question, they've already answered it in the rule book. And you've got to admire that. So not a real long one. They do have on the back suggested card choices and deck selection. So first game, and then if you really want a low interaction, or here you want it to be a high interaction, which means you are going to be messing with your opponent a little bit. So they do give you some suggestions for decks to try out, and for 1 to 2 players, and then across the board. They also have the nice setup reminder right here on the back page, which is nice to have. It's got one layer of cardboard. Thunderworks always does a nice job with the cardboard, good and thick. I like it to be chunky. It feels like there's a little bit there to it. Then they have the solo rules. I'm not going to try and pronounce this person's name, but they always name their solo players. So Scintilla, we'll say. So they do have the solo rules in here. Thunderworks always, I shouldn't say always, but I can't think of too many games where they haven't included some sort of solo rules. And they do try to make sure that that's an option for those who like it. Now, when you get in here, there's not a whole lot to show you because it is just cards. But they did build in some storage like they have done with some of their more recent games. So down in this area, it's kind of hard to see on the camera. I'll get out of the shadow there. But you can see there's a spot there for the solo markers to go. This is a double layer storage container. It looks like on the bottom, they always have their little icon there. So this is probably where your credits are going to go. And then, of course, on the top here, this is where your sparks are going to go, which is the victory points and the victory condition in the game. The sparks come in 2 colors, blue and white, or clear, I guess you'd say. It's not going to show up here. I'll get it closer. You can kind of see they actually did add sparkles to the acrylic here, or the plastic, or whatever this is made out of. So it gives it a little bit of a, it's a little different than just a regular colored cube. Then we have all of these, and so you've got the built-in storage here for the cards. I'm not sure what these two areas are for. It feels like all the cards will fit right here, so maybe this is for expansion. I don't know. Right down here is the solo deck. It is driven by this deck of cards. And then with the Kickstarter, it included a mini expansion. So I will open that because it's a lot easier to open. And so you can see here, there's they like the mini cards for their solo deck, which is fine. And I'm not exactly sure how it works yet. I haven't had a chance to read through the rules. And then this transmission pack included 3 more citizens. And here's the thing, is it's the same card repeated. So if you're going to play with the advocates, you put this into the deck and shuffle it up. The pillager and the warden, and each one has its own special ability that after you play it, depending on how many you have, and if I remember the rules right, you can only have up to 3 that you can cash in on. So as they get stronger, this ability gets stronger. And then after I play it, if anybody else at the table has an advocate and they want to follow, they also can follow and get some of the benefits as well. So, and the cards themselves, the thickness, I mean, it's a typical playing card. It's got a good feel to it. You know, it's humid here in the Midwest right now, so I anticipate them warping here shortly. And that's kind of the unfortunate thing with any card game. I also appreciate that they included a playmat. Well, I shouldn't say included. I did the all-in on the pledge here. So the first one side is for solo play, and it's a decent thickness. Not a ton of give, but you don't need that with the cards. It's got a nice stitching along the edge, so I think it'll last for quite some time. And then on the main side, you've got places for your discard, your deck, and then you're setting out your tableau here for to draft. Basically, you're drafting citizens into your city. 2 to 3 players use just 2 columns, and then they have a third column over here for 4 to 5. I like that they have their some examples of their citizens looking on as you play the game. So I do appreciate that. So there you have it, Citizens of the Spark, an interesting tableau city builder game that, well, as soon as I post this, I'm going to sit down and start going through the rules and hopefully get in a few rounds of, if not anything, the solo play, just to get an idea of how the game plays. As always, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more opening videos, hopefully sooner than later.